The red dice will be for Malag. He has a strength of 2. He needs to get a 6. Ah, look at that. 14. That's the maximum. Awesome. And our friend Karathi needs to roll a 7. And he gets an 11. So both of them just wail on these skeletons. And so they're going to roll for damage. Hopefully we can get 6s because we're going to have to reduce this by half. All right, Malag has a 4, which will be 2 damage against our skeleton. Hey Wargamers, welcome back. Purple Druid here. And today we are continuing the journey, the expedition to Sounding Bridge. And as you may recall from our last episode, our intrepid party had encountered a troll who gave them a quest. They have to go down into the dungeons beneath the ruins of Sounding Bridge. They need to go down this hatch right here and look for a magical mace and bring it back to the troll. And then they'll be released from their quest and they can continue their expedition. So what we've got here is a special new dungeon generation procedure. We are going to be using the dungeon morphs. Dungeon morph set here. This is the Adventurer, Explorer, and Spelunker set. I've taken out all of the caves because those are not square and they'll be hard to draw. And so what we're going to do is we're going to draw one of these cards, and that will be where we start. And each time we go through, we'll just build this as we go. And we'll draw it on the map here. And each time we enter a room, we are going to draw a card from the dungeon deck by Atelier Clandestine. And some of these cards will tell us to draw a token. And when we do so, we'll pull one of these tokens out of this coffee cup. And if we draw the R, that will be a treasure. And we'll roll here on 4 Against Darkness on page 34. The S will be a weird monster from page 38. If you defeat the weird monster, you'll get a campaign clue. We're going to keep that abstract for right now, but that will come into play as the campaign goes on. A T will be a trap. We'll roll on page 62 in the 4 Against Darkness book. The X means that we will then draw 2 of these and apply them. An M will be a vermin. We'll roll on page 35 for a vermin. Some of these cards, we have Monster Room, we have Special Room, and we have Empty Room. They say things like roll on the room feature table or draw a token. So if we draw a Special Room, this is when we're going to draw one of these tokens. They say roll on the room feature table. We're going to roll on the random tables for dungeons and layers for features. And if we get a monster room, we're going to roll for a minion on page 36. And you defeat the minion, and we're going to roll on the treasure table with a +1 to the roll. So what we'll be doing is we will have this deck, and this will tell us what is inside each of those rooms. So we're going to shuffle these up. These are just cardstock. This, replenish the deck and shuffle. We're going to... Well, that's a different card, isn't it? Well, that's fun. All right, well, we'll know when we get to that, won't we? Anyhow, each time we draw one of these, we'll add it to the map, and then we'll draw a room deck card, and that will tell us what the contents of the room are. So we're going to go ahead. Let's give this a little shuffle here. I don't know what's what. The... I wish that wasn't... There is a blank. They do give us a blank in there. Maybe I'll switch that out. Anyway, so we have our room deck. We have our dungeon deck. We have our tokens, which we'll put in the cup. We have 4 Against Darkness. We have our dice. I don't need these right now. All right, let's go ahead. And as you recall, we have Meleg, Zerva, Karathi, Agar, and Kos. Those are our adventurers. We have miniatures for them. This is Meleg. He is our intrepid explorer. And so we've got their stats right there. They have been given some torches, which will allow for them to see and explore the area. Let's see here. What else do we need to do? Let's get this over here. Open up our game book. So, as we descend into the dungeon, we'll just start in the. We're gonna start in the middle here, and we'll just see what happens. We'll just see what happens. So I'm going to cut the deck, and we are going to begin. We're going to begin right here. So let's draw that. Okay, and we'll dress this up as we go along. So that is our first room, and we'll draw. Okay, this is what we're going to do. The hatch is right here, and it drops them down into this room. This room is empty because there's lots of things going on up above, and any of the inhabitants down here, they avoid this room in order to avoid the troll. They know the troll is up there. And the various inhabitants, we have a giant snake, a giant spider, rats, skeletons, ghouls, and beastmen. And so those are the inhabitants that we may or may not encounter. So, which way shall we go? Let's roll a die for that. Should we go north, east, or south? Let's go north. All right, so we're going to draw another card. And we're going to cut the deck. And that is going to bring us into a, oh boy, the giant catacomb. All right, I'm going to pause this while I draw this out for you. All right, so here is our big crypt room or mausoleum room or what have you. And let's see what kind of room it is. It is a monster room. So we are going to also roll on the room feature table, and then we're going to roll on the monster table with a D8. So first off, let's go to our room features, and we're going to roll a D100. $35. There are floor markings of some kind. Okay. So, our group descends into a small chamber. They go north into a large. They see floor markings. But before they can begin to decipher or investigate those markings, we run into some monsters. It's a 3. They are rats. So let's go ahead and roll on our table, reaction table. There we go. It's a 10. The rats are friendly. Okay, so the rats are just scrambling around. They are not angry rats. They're not dangerous rats. They are simply regular, normal rats moving around. And they're chased off by the light. Normal rats. All right, now, when we look at this card, it says that there's a secret door with something there. So we're going to disregard that. We're not going to worry about any secret doors in this particular area, just because I don't want to deal with those right now. And what we will do is they're on a mission. They're here to find this magical mace. The troll didn't say anything about it being inside a coffin. So they're not going, they are under the impression that someone's using this mace and they need to take it from them. So they're going to go and listen at this door. Do they hear anything? No. So they're going to try the door, and it's, we have locked, stuck, and opens a-okay. So the door is stuck. We can open that on a 1 or a 2. And what we'll do is our 2 strongest, Malag and Zerva. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Malag and Karathi, because Karathi's not wounded, are going to force the door. And so they'll be able to open it on a 1, 2, or 3. All right. They push the door open. And that is a 20 by 20 room. And then we'll draw a card. This is a special room. So we're going to draw a token. Now, the tokens are in here. I can't see them. I'm shaking it up. And it's a trap. Oh dear. They have walked into a trap. So we're going to go to 4 Against Darkness, page 62. Again, we've pulled that out. We're going to keep that out. We're going to roll a d6 on the trap table. It's a 6. A giant stone block, level 5, will fall on the last character in the marching order. Oh boy. Okay, so what that's going to mean is our marching order is Malag and Karathi, and then Zerva and Agar, because they're wounded. They're down to 1 hit point, and Kos is bringing up the rear. So as they enter the room, a level 5 block is going to drop onto Kos. Kos will need to dodge that. He needs to roll a d6 and get a 9. 2d6 and get a 9. He can add his agility, which is 1, and subtract the 5 for the level 5 creature. So I don't think he can do it. 7 plus 1 is 8. Minus 5 is 3. So Kos is going to take 5 damage from the block. I'm sorry, he'll take d6 damage from the block. 5. And that is going to be it for Kos. He is actually going to be crushed by the falling block. Bum, bum, bum. Well, Kos, we hardly knew you. Here's Kos. He's dead now. Sorry about that, bud. All right. Well, obviously, the mace is not in there. So let's go ahead and continue this direction. They're going to come back out. And, oh, this is a good one. I like this one a lot. We're going to put that there. So I am not going to try to draw this because that's just going to take too long. What we're going to do is we're going to leave this right here. And I have a little removable Post-it, which we'll use to hold this in place. There we go. And we're going to come to this door. What is up with that door? That door is stuck. So once again, Malag and Karathi will force the door. Why am I rolling 2 dice? They're unable to get it. They'll try again. They get it. But now they've alerted if there's anything on the other side of the door. What is its response? Its response is... Oh my god. This die does not want to stay on my little... I need to get my tray. It's an 8. So it'll be neutral. What is on the other side of that door? Let's draw a card. It's a special room. We're going to draw a token. It is the R. There is a treasure on the floor in this room. And we're going to go ahead and put that over here. Put this here. These are the cards already. What treasure do we have? Page 34. Now remember, we have a +1 to the die roll. It's a 3. A scroll with a random spell. Excellent. Where are the scrolls? Right now, there's no one that's a magic user, so we're just going to write down that Malag and Karathi with a random spell. But they don't know what it is. They can't read it, so it doesn't matter. We're going to move along to the next door, and that opens right up. And this room is a monster room. And we're also going to roll on the room feature table. It's a 5. We have D4 skeletons. 4 skeletons we're going to have to fight. And there's a feature, but we're not going to roll on that feature until after we fight the skeletons. Okay, perfect. And just as a quick reminder for Kal-Arath combat, D6 plus agility for initiative. But they're skeletons. Skeletons will always go last. So our party will get to attack first. 2d6 plus strength versus 8 to succeed with a melee attack. Now, our friend Zurva right here, he has a bow. He's in the back. This is Karathi. Those two come in first because they push the door open, and then these two will come in second. They have the initiative. They're going to go ahead and charge against these two, straight into these two skellies right here. And then these two will follow into the room. Now, unfortunately, skeletons take half damage from regular weapons, or from pointed weapons. So what we're going to do is he's not going to use his bow. That's kind of a waste. He's going to use his spear, which will allow him to attack first. All of these characters have spears, so they'll all be able to attack first rather than have to deal with simultaneous. The red dice will be for Malag. He has a strength of 2. He needs to get a 6. Ah, look at that. 14. That's the maximum. Awesome. And our friend Karathi needs to roll a 7. And he gets an 11. So both of them just wail on these skeletons. And so they're going to roll for damage. Hopefully we can get 6s because we're going to have to reduce this by half. All right, Malag has a 4, which will be 2 damage against our skeleton. And Karathi has a 5, which will count as 3 damage. So we have 4 skeletons. And let's roll. You know what? I should have rolled their hit points. I didn't do that already. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just going to put them in order. 5, 4, 2, 6. 5, 4, 2, 6. And so, you know what? I'm going to do them in order this way. 5, 4, 2, 6. So this one will take 2 damage. And this one will take 3, but he's only got 2, so he's going to be killed. And this one has 6, and this one has 5. All right, so now this skeleton will get to attack back. And our friend Malag will need to dodge. He needs to roll a 9. His agility bonus is 0. That's a 7. He's going to take d6 damage. 4. 4 damage for Malag. However, he has armor 2 and a shield, so that's going to be reduced down to... All right. And now these guys back here who did not charge, she's going to attack this one. And he's going to attack this one. And since these get to move forward, we're going to let those 2 attack first and then the skeletons. So, first off, Zerva. He has a 6. That's not going to hit. And Agar has a 6 also. No, yes, her strength is 1. So that'll be a 6. So that won't hit. Zerva dodges the skeleton. That's an 8. His agility is +1. That's a 9. So he will be able to dodge. Agar, she'll need an 8 to dodge. And she gets a 10. Nice. All right. So that is the end of round 1. And Karathi is going to come over here and assist Agar in this battle. Now that we've entered into melee, the long weapon is not going to help. So all of the combat will be simultaneous. So we're going to start over here. First with Zerva. He attacks. That's going to be a hit. And he'll do 3 damage. And to dodge the skeleton's attack, he's got a 6, a 7. Nope. So he's going to take d6 damage. That's 3. He has armor of 2. That will take him down to 0 again. So he's going to be knocked out. Next up, we have Malag. Malag rolls a 5 plus 2, that is a 7. That's not going to hit. The skeleton. All right, we got snake eyes. We're not able to dodge. The skeleton will do 5 damage. -3 is 2. That's going to take him from 5 down to 3. And then over here, we have Karathi. He's got a 7 plus 1 is an 8. That is going to hit. That will be 2 damage against the skeleton. Agar will roll a 6. That's not going to hit. Now, who's the skeleton going to attack? On a 1 to 3, it is Karathi. No, it's going to be Agar. Agar needs to dodge. And she's able to dodge, so no damage. All right, so that is going to be the end of round 2. I should really be keeping track of this, shouldn't I? All right, so there's 2. And I don't know where that die went to. Anyway, all right, so the next round, this skeleton is going to move over here, and now Meleg is going to be double teamed. This could get very exciting. All right, so skeleton first against Meleg. Nope, Meleg is able to dodge. Meleg versus, let's say, this skeleton here. That's a 10. That's a hit. And he will do 1 damage. The next skeleton will hit against Meleg. Oh my gosh. That's 1 damage. Reduced by 3, that's 0. So 0 damage against Meleg. Over here, we have Karathi. Karathi will attack. That is a 12. That's a hit. Damage 2. That'll do 1 damage to this skeleton. And Agar rolls a 7. That becomes an 8. That will be a hit. And it's a 3, so that's 2 damage against the skeleton. And the skeleton attacks back on a 1 to 3. It's Karathi. Yes. And that's a 6. He's not able to dodge because his agility is 0. So Karathi will take d6 damage, 1 damage. However, his armor is 2, so that will be reduced. So he will not take any damage. And that will take us into round 4. Skeleton versus Meleg. That's going to be a hit. 5 damage minus 3 is 2. So Meleg will be down to 1. Meleg versus this skeleton. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a hit. 1 damage. He will take out this skeleton. This skeleton will then attack Meleg. And that's a 7. His agility is 0, so Meleg is going to take another hit. That's 3 damage minus 3 for his armor. That's no damage. Meleg is still in the game. Whew. All right, Karathi. That is a 6. That's a miss. Agar. That is a 5. That's a miss. The skeleton is going to attack Agar. She rolls a 4 for her dodge. That's going to be a hit. She's going to take 5 damage. Minus 2 for her armor is 3. That's going to put her at minus 2. So Agar is going down. So she's actually going to be out because she's negative now and not just at 0. Zerva's at 0 here. So she's going to be a casualty as well. Oh boy, this mission may be coming to a premature end. All right, we're going into number 5. Combat round 5. Meleg versus the skeleton. 6, 7, 8. That's a hit. Can he get 4 damage? No, he only gets 2 damage. Oh, he's only got 2 left. All right, so he's able to take it out. And then Karathi. Oops, I'm sorry. The skeleton still gets to fight back, though. But he's able to dodge. The Karathi versus the skeleton. That is a 5, a 6. That is not a hit. However, he's able to dodge. Yes, he's able to dodge. So he will not be wounded. And Meleg will be able to come over here and assist in the combat. for round 6. Kal-Arath rolls an 8. That is a hit. We only need 1 damage. And he does 6 plus 5. That's 11. Anyway, that's enough to wipe out this skeleton. So the skeletons have been destroyed. These 2 fellows are left on their feet. And only Zerva is able to be treated. So they're going to come over here and bind his wounds. Spend a turn doing that. And that will bring him back to 1 hit point. Now, they've lost 2. Oh, dearie dear. They've lost 2 of their companions. Also, we need to roll and see if there's treasure on... what's the rule for treasure here for monsters? All right, so skeletons don't have treasure. We're going to roll 2d6 and see if our friend Zerva is able to get up, because he was wounded once before, down to 0. So on a 7+, he will be able to get up. That's a 6. Okay, so Zerva also has passed away. That means our group has lost 60% of their number. I think they're going to need to make a morale check to see if they can continue. I know they've been quested. They've been sent on a quest. However, Kal-Arath has 3 hit points. Malag has 1. And they just might have been driven off. So let's check our morale. We're going to say they have a morale score that's pretty high. Definitely 8. Let's check their morale. We're going to roll these 2 dice. And if we roll an 8 or more, they are going to flee back to the surface. And that's a 5. Okay, so they're going to continue. So we shall see what happens. All right, so they're in this chamber here. Let's check this door. That door is locked. All right, let's call it a skill check. We need a 9. We need to roll a 9 to pick that lock. Okay, we have an 11. So they're able to pick the lock and move into the next room. Now, this means replenish the deck and shuffle. I'm going to take this out because that's only going to happen 1 time. We're going to put these back in. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we don't know, because this says that this is a rotating room. So once they enter the room, the door slams closed behind them. And we're going to say, you know what? There are... Hold on. Before we pick that lock, we need to roll on the special feature. I get so excited, I get ahead of myself. All right, the special feature in this room is a 10, a broken statue. See page 89. And that's a D20. 9. A feared monster. Dungeon inhabitants fear a monster or other great beast to the point of exaggerating the features and powers of the creature. So there's a broken statue of a monster in the skeleton room. And we lost Zerva and Agar. Door's locked. Go through the door and find themselves in a round chamber. One of these doors, the room is spinning. They're going to come into a room randomly. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We had said that the maximum is going to be 7 rooms. So our boss, monster, is going to be in the 7th room. So they're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 8. There's 8. Okay, we're going to roll randomly to see which door it is. We're going to start with this one. That's number 1. It's number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they're going to come out into this room here. That is a special room. We're going to roll on the room feature table. 80. There's a shallow pit. And then we're going to roll for what kind of boss monster we have. Okay, so the door opens. Rolled 7. Equals east. 20 by 20 room with a shallow pit. What kind of monster is in that pit? Let's go to boss monsters. We are in a lot of trouble here. But let's find out what we get. D6. Roll the green die. It's a 6. A small dragon. Okay. Reaction. Roll a D6. On a 1, it's sleeping. On a 2 or a 3, they can bribe it. We may not. We might be able to get the mace. We might not. On a 4 or a 5, they have to fight. And on a 6, they quest. It's a 2. They're able to bribe it. They need a minimum of 100 gold or a magic item. Boy, oh boy. These guys don't have 100 gold. They don't have a magic item. Oh, they are going to become prisoners of the dragon. Let's roll on our augury dice here. They're unable to bribe the dragon. First of all, let's see, will they be able to negotiate with the small dragon? And the answer is yes. They are able to negotiate with the dragon. And this is probably where I should get out the GM emulator, the Mythic emulator, because that's supposed to have a better chart for these types of things. But I don't know how to use that really. So we're going to go and look at we're going to use the yes and no and oracle. These two are going to offer up everything they have, which is not 100 gold, but they have something. And will the dragon accept it? No, but. No, but. We're at a turning point, so we're going to roll on the table on page 21 here, the D66 table. We got a 23, a sacrifice, and 26, an obstacle. The dragon wants some sort of sacrifice. Okay. There is an obstacle. The only thing these guys have to sacrifice are the bodies of their friends. Do they have the courage to offer the bodies of their friends, or let's just say the body of Kos, as a sacrifice? Do they have the courage to do that? No, they do not. Is Maleg ruthless enough to sacrifice Karathi? Maybe I should have asked that first. The answer to that is no. Maleg is not ruthless enough to sacrifice Karathi, but he is ruthless enough to sacrifice the body of Kos. The obstacle, however, is that they're not able to leave. Does the dragon have another minion that could go get it? No. All right. They are going to have to become prisoners of the dragon. And unless I think of something in the next couple seconds, I think this is going to be the end of our story. Our adventurers have failed in a spectacular way. They encounter a small dragon, which they could have bribed, but they don't have any treasure. They have no treasure. Boy. So now the dragon wants a sacrifice and they must become prisoners. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. This was really exciting. I had no idea that something like this was going to happen. I thought they had a good chance of retrieving the mace. However, this particular chapter of the Druid quest is now over. And our friend Morpan will likely never know what happened in the mystery of Sounding Bridge. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and keep on gaming.